To be or not to be? That is a question. Unless, of course, you're talking about this album, then I guess you don't really need to ask that shit. What's up, everyone? It's Luke James, not the singer. If you're looking to get your music reviewed, you can hit up this email that's right here. But right now, we're going to talk about this Common album B, because this is an episode of the Archives, where we take a look at classic albums and albums from the past. Now, Common, of course, is a Chicago MC who's been putting in work since the 90s, and even just last year, he dropped his album Black America Again, which was very well received, so he doesn't show any signs of slowing up. Now, he does have a lot of other projects in his discography that I could see myself reviewing eventually, including like Water for Chocolate. But this album right here, B, is by far my favorite Common album, and a lot of that has to do with the production, because you get two beats from J Dilla on Love Is and It's Your World, and then Kanye West handles the rest of it. So no beat on here is out of place, because between those two legendary producers, you're going to get a lot of soulful, jazzy samples, and the overall vibe is kept very nice and smooth. And that smooth style, I think, really matches up with Common, because he himself raps in a very smooth style, and he also brings those poetic bars and positivity. So everything here just matches up nicely, and I love a lot of these tracks, including the J Dilla produced Love Is, where Common really breaks down how complicated a thing love can be, from causing heartbreak to making people a slave to it and beyond. So I like how he really goes into detail about love and approaches that idea from many different angles. And Common is no stranger to rapping about love, positive things, dropping social commentary, and getting poetic. So you will hear a lot of his thoughts and ideas as you listen through this album, including on the song Real People, where we get this great jazzy saxophone production from Kanye West, and Common is just dropping some of his ideas on interracial relationships and also police brutality. But one of my favorite tracks on here by far has got to be Faithful, because what he does on this one is he approaches the idea of faith, again, from a couple different angles, kind of like what he did on Love Is. Because on the first verse, he's rapping about the idea of God as a woman and wondering how faithful he would be to her. And then in the second verse, he tells the story of a man who actually resists temptation in order to stay faithful to his woman. So I like how he takes these two ideas and you can kind of tie them together, and yet they are two different ways that a person can practice faith, whether you're talking about religion or spirituality, and then love and relationships. So I think the way that Common did that was very masterful on this track, and I love the overall sound, because you get this DJ Rogers sample that is very nice, and then you have John Legend and Bilal adding some vocals on the outro. So it's a very smooth track and easily one of my favorites. But for the most part, you are going to hear a lot of street content on this, but the way that Common does it isn't as if he's glorifying it like a lot of rappers were doing back in 2005 and are still doing today, because what he does instead is really paint pictures, tell stories, and let you know what's going on. Now, this was very apparent on the single, The Corner, which right away has some of my favorite production, man. I love those thick boom bap drums that Kanye had going on here, and the way he layered the bass and the keys just really hits you right in your chest. It's just a really hard track, and yet it still is kind of smooth and soulful. So I think the sound on this is very interesting. Now, in the verses, Common is using some really great rhyme schemes. In every verse, there's just something a little different going on with his flow, so I think it showcases his style. And as for the lyrics, he really is going into detail about what it's like in the streets by using the corner as the hub of where everything goes on. So you can see people out there hustling on the corner, communicating, talking about culture, getting political, whatever. It's just a really cool idea to take the corner, which you can really visualize in your head. It's just very vivid. People hanging out on the corner, under the street lights, doing whatever they're doing. And he's kind of using that as a microcosm for everything that goes on in the street. So that was very interesting to me. And then the last poets really tie it all together with some spoken word pieces about black culture and just the magic of the corner. So that was a really great track. Kanye West is on the hook, reiterating how people are willing to hustle just to survive and get by on the corner. So I like how Common is able to do that street content in that type of way. Rather than glorifying it, like I said, he's just making it positive and kind of letting you know what's going on and painting that picture for people who might not understand. Now, these similar themes are explored on the track Food, which once again has a very catchy hook from Kanye West, cause he had to did what he had to did, cause he had to get da-oh, da-oh, da-oh. And again, this one is dealing with the streets and how you're just trying to survive and struggle and doing what you have to do for your family. I really like the production Kanye had on here with those twinkling keys. It kind of sounds like a childlike piano. And most people know this one from Chappelle's show because the version on here is from the live performance on that show. And you know what? There is actually a studio version of this floating around. I wasn't familiar with it myself, but you can look it up on YouTube and you can find it if you want to hear what that version would sound like. Although I will say I like that live version, perhaps because I'm more familiar with it, or maybe it just sounds better overall. I don't know. You guys can tell me. But another song that also has a couple of versions is They Say, because I remember when this album dropped, I actually had a bootleg of it. This is back when albums would leak way in advance. And the version of They Say on that bootleg had a Consequence verse, which was really dope. And I actually prefer it to the version that we have on here with Kanye West. But that's not to say Kanye's verse is bad, because he does have some memorable lines, including how he calls out Cameron, who once dissed Jay-Z and said that it's not cool to wear jeans with sandals, because on this one, Kanye says that it's quite all right for gangsters to wear sandals. I thought that was just a cool way of kind of backing up his boy Jay-Z and getting that Cameron, because there was a lot of shit going on between them back in the day. Now, as for the theme of this song, it's just about how they say all this shit, but they don't know what they're talking about. So you have John Legend on the hook singing that, and then in the verses, Kanye is just rapping about how you got these people in the media who love to bring celebrities down, and Common himself is going in on the critics, whether it's the media, other rappers, or people who just think he's too positive and thoughtful in his music, because you know what? That wasn't always popping in rap. People thought you had to be gangsta and hard, and people were also commenting on the way Common dressed, because he did get a little bit weird with it, with some of those hats and the scarves, some of that hipster-esque type of shit that he had going on before people even really used the word hipster. But I think you know what I'm saying. He had his fair share of critics, so they're calling them out on this track, which also has a really nice beat with these very warm keys. So I like how smooth and relaxing this track is, and it kind of reminds me of the song Go in that sense, because Go has the same type of vibe, very smooth, warm keys, and also some vocals from John Mayer, as Common is just rapping on here about his sexcapades. So this was one of the tracks that was a little less serious than some of the other ones, but still a personal favorite, because again, it's just so smooth and wavy, and I love it. So with this album, there is a little bit of variety. It's not all going to be deep content. You got that track Go, then you have Testify, where Common is just telling this crime story over this really dope Kanye West production with that vintage sped up vocal chopping. And then on the song Chi City, you have one of the album's more aggressive tracks, where Common is just calling out the lack of quality in the game. Of course, this is back in 2005, although now in 2017 you could still rap about that. So there is a variety of sounds and content here, but again, everything just really falls into place. All the way from the intro track B, where you have the stand-up bass, some nice strings, and some bubbly synth, all the way from that track to the outro track, It's Your World, which is just another J Dilla production that's very smooth, and Common is doing some storytelling once again. You even got some kids on that outro track talking about what they want to be, and then Common's father comes on the outro to just inspire you and encourage you to be who you are and embrace yourself. So this is just a dope record, man. Good production, great bars, great everything, man. What more could you ask for? You got some content on here, some fun tracks, some smooth tracks. This is a really dope project, and in my opinion, it is definitely a classic. It's nice and snug. It doesn't overstay its welcome with the number of tracks, because I believe it's 13 tracks long. So check this out if for some reason you have never checked it. And if you love this project or you hate it, which would just be kind of weird to me, let me know in the comments section. Either way, I want to know your thoughts. So make sure you do all that good YouTube and social media stuff, man, where you like my videos, you share them, you follow me on Twitter, you retweet the videos, and of course, man, you got to subscribe to my channel and click like on that Facebook page. Thank you for watching, everybody. I will see you next time.